Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. What's up?
How's it going?
We're Facebook Live. Liz is actually gone tonight. She'll probably jump in the chat. She is had to take Rhett to get track shoes for his track meet tomorrow. So anyways, how's everybody doing? Let us know if everything sounds good, looks good in the comments. I've been in this computer chair all day long since like 6 a.m. What's up, Mosley? And I'll probably be in it until about 2 a.m. But good news is we did finish the 2026 Alton Catfish Classic, and we just finished up the 2026 1v1 bracket challenge, which there'll be more than just this one. Cole Delp said audio is super bad, like my fishing skills. So Cole, hopefully you get your audio fixed.
Cole, you weighed in. I don't want to hear nothing.
Let's just do a little brief. Well, you know what? Before we get to the 1v1. Gosh, my chair undid. Let's start off with the Alton Catfish Classic. 100 boats, 32 teams weighed. And obviously, Fudd, you fished the tournament. What do you think?
If you want, I fished it. I definitely fished it. I think, me and Brandy were fishing, and at the end of it, I told her, I said, I really, really I feel like I haven't learned anything. So I get a little frustrated in those tournaments where, things don't go right, but you didn't learn anything. And luckily, maybe because the universe heard me or whatever, we waited for every boat at the Sioux Passage ramp to put in and get out because we didn't have any fish. And I have to put my boat on the ramp and kind of run up and get the truck and do everything. So I don't want to take up the ramp space or anything. And luckily, when I did that, another boat came and dropped off their driver. And as we were going up, he showed me a video. They caught a 60-pound fish at 258, and they were 40 miles away from the ramp. So, they hauled it back, and they realized when they got there and all the boats were there, they weren't going to make it. But I told him.
But let's talk about that. That was a rule change. We've actually implemented that. That's something kind of new we're doing this year. And the main reason we're doing it is because we dealt with that at Bama Blues, where I had an angler say, hey, I seen somebody dragging boards at 332. I don't know if they were in the tournament, but we've seen a team dragging boards. And I thought, how do you just eliminate that problem? You know what I mean? Why do we quit fishing at 330 and be back at 5? Or let's just eliminate that altogether. But people have been used to that. So everything's got to go your way. You got to be smart when you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to put in at Sioux Passage, which is not the Alton Marina, which is a 20-minute drive, maybe 30-minute drive with traffic. And what about boats? If there's 30 boats there, don't plan on getting there at 3:30, running up the ramp, being the first one to back in. So I think everything has to be in line. I've seen some teams catch a fish at 232 or 332. Like, you probably shouldn't have been fishing that late if you couldn't make it back, if that makes sense.
I think from talking to him, the two fish that they had, it was like I want to say like a 12-pounder and an 8-pounder. So they weren't, at 258 when they caught the 60, or it might have been 18 and an 8, something like that. It wasn't a lot. They weren't too worried about trying to make it back. The 60 at 258 is kind of what put the hitch in their giddy up, I guess, or whatever you would want to say. They didn't quite expect that fish to come at that time, so that's why they just hauled it. But anyway, I like your rule change. I like the fact that you leave it up to the angler to decide when they're going to get back to the ramp, when they're it's all on them to make it back by the time. No more of the can't have lines in the water at this, and then so and so says, oh, I seen this, and none of that no more. So you leave it up to them. You basically say you got to be here in this line at 4 o'clock. The rest is up to you. So I think that's
and that's in the rules. If you read it, it says main ramp, Alton Marina. So when you step outside of that Alton Marina to trailer, everything has to work. Your wheel bearings, your engine, traffic, everything. So when you start to say, you know what, I'm gonna make that. Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna make that choice to travel and not use the Alton Marina as that main hub, so many variables. And I do it myself. I mean, last year or 2 years ago at MRM, I'll never forget, we played that. We went 100 miles and we got back to Helena. And I mean, it was a full throttle all the way back, rolled into Helena. There was 12 boats waiting to put in. Luckily that morning we put in on the ramp, like on the hill, where when I dropped my partner off, he could squeeze. He kind of butted in front of probably 10 boats because they were at the top of the hill. So he could just back straight in. I loaded and we rolled. We made it with 2 minutes to spare in Memphis. If we would have had to wait, we wouldn't have weighed in. So, I mean, you take those chances, just like we talked about, before we got live tonight, we talked about, well, what if, the next step is maybe do you choose those 3 trailing locations and put a staff member that, hey, they can turn in a chip at 4 and then, you know what I mean? There's variables and things that we can change and adjust. And I know that there's some programs we're looking at that, in the future, when you get to that location, it can turn you in. It can say, hey, this boat was here at 3:29 or whatever. They're good. Now they can load and come back and stuff like that. But
geocaching or
yeah. No, that stuff is in place. And like I said, there's some programs we're looking at for 2027 like that. Some apps that you'll have on your phone. Right now, there's a lot of stuff that we're doing manual, which is very time consuming.
Cole is just throwing some heavy shade on you right now. Just seeing that, I looked at that. Oh my goodness, Cole.
He put a ribbon lip rod in his boat, and it's the first time he's weighed the catfish in a tournament. It's not bad. Not bad.
Heck, I was talking to something. But yeah, going back to that, the guy come in, and I was just saying to him, I said, I can't say that I know what I did wrong or what I could have done better, or I said I don't feel like it was frustrating. So I was frustrated a little bit, just as far as not knowing what I could have done differently to have a different outcome. And I really wasn't asking him for anything, but he volunteered some information, and so it definitely helps for me, and this is just a personal thing, to get a little bit of it. Even, I guess what I'm saying is if you're willing to share something with the people who, struggled and stuff, do so. Cause I do think it helps mentality of kind of, what could I do different next time? And if someone like myself is like, I don't know, I feel like I tried everything and I didn't try everything, because what he told me is something that I didn't do. So obviously, there's always things that you might not think nobody's doing that. Nobody's trying this, or nobody, this not the right time. The water temp's not right. Whatever. The current's too fast. And then you talk to somebody who caught fish, and they tell you how. And barring that it's truthful information, it's something that definitely you look at differently. You're like, okay, well, I guess I could have done that. And I've done this for a long time. I've done the tournament fishing for a long time. So like I was telling you earlier, a lot of stuff really runs together, a lot of fishing places and trips and stuff. So I think logs are very, very important.
Logs for sure.
Yeah, keep logs, especially, if you've got a not as great memory like I do. I'm wanting to work on an app actually that will have that ability, have a tournament culling system built in, logs that you can keep years of logs at locations and things, and hopefully I can get that up and working. And but yeah, I think that's a big thing.
And let's talk about, so Sean Groney said not a good weigh-in for the area. So I do agree with that. You know what I mean? I think that this area can humble people. What's unique about this area is I still will take it to my grave. It's the, you can go to Louisiana and catch a ton of 50s and 60s and 40s, but gosh, this is like number 6 that we've weighed in over 100 pounds. 5 out of the 6 have been weighed in on the Alton stage. The 6th one was weighed in at Columbia Bottoms, all in that confluence area. So even with I guess I'd like to say rough weigh-in. And when I say that, I want you to understand that if this tournament was Thursday or last weekend, we would have probably weighed 80 boats. And it would have been an absolutely insane weigh-in. But even with the rough weigh-in, look at the fit. We weighed 110-pound fish. We weighed several in the 70s, 60s, a ton in the 40s, some PBs. But it was the people that I think, had to think outside of the box, and a cold front came. And just like Mosley said, the 100-pounders is why I keep going back. You're one bite away. You're one bite away. You know what I mean?
So last year, Terry and myself, it wasn't during the tournament. You didn't have a 100-pounder weighed last year, did you, in the tournament? The guys that had the 104 or 107 caught that like a day or two before, and we went to friggin' the tackle shop there. Bluff City.
I don't think that I've weighed a fish under 80 pounds on that stage yet. And that is something to say. That's something to
say. Yeah, I mean, from what I heard too, yeah, like what you're saying, even when the water temps were in the 40s, people were catching fish, and even some numbers of fish around there. So that cold front, really. But I will say too, from what I heard, that there's a lot of people saying even before the cold front came in, that the bite was tough. So I don't know if it was that transitioning stage that they just happened to be in. But like we were talking about a little while ago, the area, the Missouri River, and I think that Alton pool, and maybe even the Mississippi around there, it does seem to fish different than most places. So if you're not local, or you're not very familiar with that water, it can be a more challenging body of water. And I will say too, to go off of what I seen Chad say, that Chris and Hunter were very lucky. I'll say that most likely when you see the same names up there a lot, you can, there's a percentage of luck, but I would say that most of that has to do with their.
Let's talk about that. Let's look at pull that up. So lab results. Let's share that. So, I mean, you look at this right here. You've got, Chris Stout and Hunter Jones. I could be wrong, but there's they have not put a lot of time on that stretch of river. I mean, they just haven't. And they put their name 3 times on that trophy. That is that's saying something about Chris Stout and Hunter Jones. Joe Ludke, Joe Coventry, they're from the Springfield, Illinois area. Fish that area a lot. Have been humbled before, but second place. Bill Parfit and Braxton, 1 fish. Granted, that was 110. You know what I mean? But they put in the work. Craig Norris, 4th place. I bet he's not fished that area 5 times in his life. Dwayne Buckridge and Justin Thornton, they're from Kansas City. Eddie Pulley, their first tournament. Kirk Lucky, Carey, Linton. These guys are, 10th place, a lot of Channel Cat guys here. So, I mean, it kind of shows you a lot of people, even a lot of locals got humbled. You know what I mean? And that's tournament fishing, but it also, again, shows you that, I mean, that area, I mean, it's just 110-pound fish. That's unreal.
Yeah. Well, Chad said he didn't mean it that way, so I might have misunderstood the way he was saying it. But yeah, it definitely, there are a lot of people that think that way too. That these guys are really lucky, and so it's definitely not luck, especially when you see.
But your top 11 teams had a fish over 40 pounds.
Yeah,
most people haven't caught I mean, that's a big fish, over a true 40-pound fish. And then the top 16 teams had a fish over 30 pounds. So imagine this is a rough day. Imagine, like I said, and I say this as a tournament director and weighing all these fish. I'm scared of if this was last weekend or if this is Thursday, golly, we'd still be weighing fish. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been insane. But that's how that goes, What
do you think about Ryan's comment there?
Always keep to yourself. People will never tell the truth in the fishing world, or 90% after weigh-in. I don't fish anyplace else. Anybody else can't fish, boat or bank. I don't really understand what that means.
He's basically saying don't share any information. Nobody else is going to share information. I would say that you don't have to give everything away to just be helpful. I think this tournament catfishing world, in order for it to grow and for it to be the right, I guess, atmosphere, I would hope that not a lot of people have that mentality, but I'm sure that there are a lot that do. I'm just a person that shares a lot. I guess I would hope that others would too, because there's just no way. I mean, you can't go like we do to all these different states, all these different bodies of water, and become, masters of them without help from people.
That's just like the live stuff. Like, I can literally, you can watch Chris Stout and Hunter Jones fish an area and literally are on live and go try to recreate what they do. And they're so precise on everything they do, from their line, their weights, their baits. I mean, how your bait fluctuates in the water column with the size of line you're using and your leader. Like, there's so many variables. You can maybe never catch that fish again. So, I mean, that, or do that good in their spot or whatever. Like I said, you're always going to hear that, but
yeah, I think like Cole says, somebody could tell you, exactly what to do, and you could go and do it and never catch the fish that the person that is telling you how to do it is going to catch. Could be no
angler should ever be able to touch their fish at weigh-ins. Like, I'm 40 now. Like, I don't know if he's just saying I need to get in their boat and get their fish out or what, but that's a lot of work, man. That is a lot of work. I mean, it takes a team to do a weigh-in. A team. See, I don't know what he's getting at there.
The 110-pounder, heard the 110-pounder was caught on chicken. Well, I ain't gonna lie. I put 6 poles with chicken out at the end of that tournament, just trying to get me the one fish and have a weigh-in. But I that whole tournament, I never once got anything that I would consider a solid bite. And I feel like I fished about every way possible in the areas that I targeted. So I don't know if I targeted bad areas, or I don't think so. I think from what I can tell from people is the bite was just really, really hard. Definitely, I think, hiring a guide, in areas is not a bad thing to go and just, especially, far away from your home waters and stuff. So just to sort of see, get them to show you on that specific body of water what the fish there like to do, what they look like in heavy current, what they consider structure, and just get as much knowledge as you can. And them guides have a lot of it, and it's not a bad thing to just go and learn. I actually thought about doing that for a whole year, taking a year off of tournament fishing and just going around the country fishing with some guides and just trying to learn everything I could.
You think you learn anything?
I'm 47, so
if you ain't learned it by now, but I'm not sure you can learn it.
It's hard to learn at this age, but I ain't afraid to try. I'll probably forget half of what I learned.
So back on just kind of the event itself, obviously last year we had 61 boats. We kind of did some things, I guess, for the Alton Classic and just Twisted Cat in general. I'm just going to scroll through a few pictures of give me kind of your thoughts as an angler, fishing this event, what you've seen from the captain's meeting, which I'm going to kind of scroll through. What your thoughts of the whole event is. I think it was a pretty fun event overall. Kind of give me your thoughts.
I haven't even seen the pictures yet. So.
Oh, you have?
No, I haven't had a chance. I've been busy since I got home. So, as far as this year was new, not having it at what's that place called down there? The flock. Flock, yeah, the flock. And didn't have it at the. We had it at Bluff City Outdoors. I was concerned whether we were going to be able to fit everybody in there, but I think we did just fine.
Yeah, I think it worked really, really good.
So that might be a possibility if that needs to be in the future. It's pretty cool as far as, seeing the trophies there, having everything, having the line with the food and everything. Getting a meal, having drinks there. As far as how everything was ran and everything, definitely you need Liz there with you all the time. She just helps out so much that.
So so if people watching this, if you fish Bama Blues, you've learned my OCD of how I want parking spots. Now, I'm going to give this whole Saturday morning not a great grade. Anglers did fairly well for the most part. Now, I could do better. I know this sounds crazy. I might even number the parking lot next year, like number each spot, because there were some that, boat 6, like I don't know what some of them were doing, but like 67 should have been where 42 was. But for the most part, and I think I'm going to move maybe a 25 boats to a completely different parking lot. But I think for the most part, and people say, well, why do you do a live well check? Well, there's several reasons we do a live well check. Obviously, number one is we do a live well check because the city's supporting it, the area. Without a live well check, nobody has to stay close if there's a trailering event. this keeps kind of everybody on the same page. I can go talk to them. I can check their live well to make sure they have an adequate live well, because some people are fishing out of different boats and they have questions. Like, we get hit up on a lot of questions. Brandon and I get a lot of calls. I probably had 500 calls on Friday. I had a lot of messages and calls on Saturday. And I know these sound crazy. I'm not calling anybody out, but I had people ask me Saturday what the fish limit was. So you think a $500 entry tournament, you know, and people don't want to stay and nobody listens to the rules. That's why I always say, like, I don't want to DQ anybody, but if you listen to the rules at the captain's meeting, because a lot of people say, hey, can we go? Like, I got to do this, and that's fine, but I don't have time to go over that like Saturday morning. But then I'll get text, hey, is it a 5 fish limit or 3 fish? Like, you should probably know that. You know what I mean? The rules have been out for, 12 months. Let's see. So Cindy said, the meal was awesome. I personally thank the Bluff City owner. He said a barbecue team. Yeah, so Mark sponsors that barbecue team that did the pulled pork for us. And then we did the drinks. You know what I mean? So a lot of that, again, as a tournament director, I've been to a ton of tournaments. We're fortunate for the sponsors behind this event. Obviously, you get drinks, food, a T-shirt, which if you didn't get a T-shirt yet, Liz will be getting with you to make sure your T-shirt got delivered. But, that is a high-quality Comfort Colors T-shirt with the sponsors and the logo. Like, those were super awesome. We've done some jerseys in the past. Obviously, those are Pakistan jerseys that, the sizing and all that is just kind of, it's a struggle. And it is a lot of work, behind the scenes on the partner changes that go on throughout the tournament. People don't put their stuff in their sizes, and, we always have to reorder and order more later on and change sizes. But yeah, so back to the morning, I think overall it was good. I think people understand, because Fudd, I don't know if you've witnessed this before, but in the future, you look at this picture here. Probably before you remember it, it used to be the captain's meeting got done and people drove as fast as they could over to start the line. And this parking lot was absolutely chaos in the morning. So now, like, you can go to a hotel, have a good night's sleep, roll in at 5 o'clock, 4:50, and super easy. You know what I mean?
But still, there are people that are flying. And when they let go from there, I'm going to tell you, I mean, some people were hauling it to the boat ramp. I was like,
I fished a Cat Masters event 3 or 4 years ago out of Helena, and we drove to Rosedale, and I had my 2500 HD. I mean, I was going 80 or 90, and I felt, I got lit up by 4 or 5 trucks. Now they were all, deleted and stuff. But when I get past it and I'm going that fast and somebody passes me and I quit seeing their lights, they're moving. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother scenario of safety in the future and stuff too.
So, yeah, we were talking, and one of the things that we talked, you just actually even mentioned it about, I guess I think it's a good idea, and I understand if some things have to be cut in order for this to happen. But I really like the idea of you having some paid help at the ramps with a chip or whatever that they get in that bucket.
Well, all right, you want to go to that? Sure.
You have to cut, if you have to cut shirts or whatever it is just to make that happen. I think for safety and just sort of ease of different things, that's worth it to me. But yes, this parking, I called you.
So let's go. Let's look at this. So there's not a lot of boats. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 29 boats here. And the issue is, I'm not really sure.
You could what?
I'm not really sure what happened in the parking lot here.
I can tell you, I was there watching it.
So, you can say, I guess this is where it's like, as a tournament director, it's hard to have, because here's the thing is, like, everybody here in this parking lot gets in a hurry. Some of them they get a little impatient. So you got to think of, like, to have my dad that's retired and loves to be a part of this and come help. I would never send my dad here, because my dad would have to deal with people that are impatient. And then that would make him say, well, not want to be a part of it. So to have a volunteer in a scenario like this is very tough. If I'm there, or Liz, that's one different thing. Because
I don't even think you need to volunteer for the parking. Not, I'm just saying, just for the coming back and not having people, flying on the highway and the interstate to try to make it, and things like that. So yeah, the parking, that should just be on the angle.
Well, yeah, and you take the trailer. There's a couple trailers that's bad. Obviously, there's one that's really bad. Now there's a couple ways you can tell that truck and trailer's in a hurry. Obviously, they left their lights on too. So in this parking lot, there were 5 trucks that left their lights on. Again, that's why there's a lot of things. Overall, I think everything goes very smooth. I want things to go 100% smooth. And unless I'm at the ramp, I can't babysit the parking. That's why I drove over that morning. I wanted to go take a nap so bad. But I came over here, and Liz and I we helped a few people back in. I didn't bring any shoes either.
Yeah, I wanted your shoes. You always have muck boots on, and that day you did not have muck boots on.
Yeah, and Joe puts a good thing here. Again, some people they're drinking a beer in the back of the room, or they're having a good conversation. But again, I go over the rules. We go over the rules once a week on the podcast. It's on the, and there's a reason I didn't. Sometimes there's like some things I change and I don't change, just to see how many people read the rules. And it blows my mind sometimes. And I'm bad at that myself too. Sometimes I wait till the last minute, and I fish these tournaments. But again, you take a ramp like this, you've got to be, just like Joe said, you've got to be back at 4 regardless. And once you leave that Alton Marina, everything's on you. If your truck, what happens imagine if you had a record weight. Let's say Bill Parfit, his truck blew up, or he had a tire blow. Could you imagine? Like, that makes me sick to even think about it.
And what if he had a 110, a 108, and a 104 pounder in there?
Ooh, that's a lot of weight to have.
Now, let me ask you this. How many people do you think out of that, what was it, 68 boats that did not weigh in, how many of those do you think had fish and just didn't plan accordingly and make it in time? They knew they wouldn't make it in time. How many do you think? 20 boats didn't weigh in because of not making it?
I do know several boats, because several boats reached out to me and said, hey, can you extend the time? There's 20 boats in line and all this. And I mean, again, you've got to be, that's a part of the game. I mean, everything's got to go your way. You can't make that 50-mile run, catch a fish at 2:30 and know you got 90 minutes to make it back. Like, you got to drive 40 miles on the water, and then you got traffic and loading your boat and little things like that. So like Delp said, Gilbert had 210 pounds, but he lost an axle. So, but no, overall, I think things were really, I think it was an awesome event, man. I always stress about it. Liz, and Doug, this is a great thing. So Doug says, make a rule: if you get speeding tickets, you're disqualified. That's a fine line. So let's talk about that. I've been asked a few questions about breaking laws and stuff. So my thought on that is, are we there yet? I don't know. Like, so if I'm gonna check for speeding tickets, I mean, am I gonna check for? Can I check your fishing? Am I gonna start checking fishing licenses? Am I gonna start checking like if you've got the right air pressure in your tires? I mean, there's a line that you got to draw of like what I can check. You know what I mean? And it gets to be a pretty big deal when you got to start checking all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Can't believe people ask for more time. You don't believe what people ask for, Yuki. Was trailering from one ramp to another allowable? I may have missed it, but yeah. So you can. There's some people that maybe put in it Columbia Bottoms or something and trailer to somewhere different. Yeah.
So you could come back and put in an Alton. If you were down on the Mississippi or whatever, and you thought, man, I'm just not doing very good, you can put back in or take your boat back out, run up to Alton, put in at the marina, and then just go fish there if you wanted to.
Yes. So could somebody technically put in another ramp or do something? I mean, yes, but we will. That to me, that is blatantly cheating. And I promise you that's something I don't want to catch. You know what I mean? If you're going outside of that, I call that out of bounds, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like Joe said, yeah, you know, I've lost a lot of friendships over the years, or that I thought were friendships, I guess. But yeah, so I mean, again, giving somebody a speeding ticket, you know, that's tough.
Do you get DQ'd if you get a citation on the water?
Yes, but here, I guess it's what's the citation for? I mean, again, if you get a citation for, you know, and how do I know that you got a citation? You know what I mean? Like it's, and there is tournaments where, you know, obviously the DNR are out there or the Coast Guard is out there because we're having an event. And I have those conversations with them. Yes, I mean, if you get a citation, then you're obviously doing something wrong. You know what I mean? But again, you know, and I think that's something probably in the future we discuss is like, how does that look? You know, if you're running through a no wake zone and you get a citation, obviously that's probably bounds for a, you know, DQ. But again, we've came a long ways and we're growing and we're learning. Yeah, I have. This is a good one here. I've done this. You told us in Burlington that you would look at a graph line to see if we went into the zone. I have done this, actually. I don't know if anybody's on here that's seen me do this, but I had an angler get really upset, and yeah. Now that is a polygraph question, but you know, what if it's 10th place? You know, we don't polygraph every team, but that's a good one. But no, that is I have got on some boats and looked at their graph to see if they passed some of these areas that we fish where I know that they were at to see if they pass that line, because every graph on your mapping shows you the lines. You know what I mean? So
oddly enough, my graph did not show me the line. You know, when I got all the way up to where I got to, coming back, my graph line was gone. I mean, it was just, and it's one of those things where I was running back and I was just using the Navionics app on my phone.
Well, these people, so I flew a drone and I talked to these people and I said, I better see lines when you get back.
Yeah.
And you could see the line and they weren't past it. They were close, but they never passed it. So don't think that we don't fly drones, or I promise you there's a lot more eyes out there than you see.
Cole is over here being the defendant and the plaintiff on a court case of something over here.
Yeah, before we move on, I wanted to get back to the Ryan Janke about just say anglers should never touch a fish at weigh-in on a measuring board. I'm not sure if he's talking about Alton because we don't do a measuring board. When that's the case, seen it a while back at a different tournament and it was under until and it was a under until the angler helped measure. Then it was over length. Well, was it me? Because I'm going to tell you, if you feel a twisted cat, you know that I'm the only one that measures fish. That is a fact. And I can promise you that ain't nobody got by with an under or over any of that stuff. So I will never let anybody else measure fish.
Well, I got to say that what I can tell you is, from my perspective and a lot of other people's perspective, is that Twisted Cat is a top tier competition trail, and everything that you do for this trail and Sea Arc and everything, but really everything you do, you generally do with, you know, the anglers in mind. Yeah, I mean, I'm normally helping you. Other people are helping you, and you put a lot of thought and time, effort, energy, money, and everything into all of this. And the guys like you are mostly gone, and people don't, I guess, understand that the constant complaints, the little things just wear on people. I'm not saying that it's happening to you, but I'm just saying that it is a.
You saying I'm getting burnt out?
No, but I mean, you look tired. I told you that before. I was like, you look kind of tired. You know, I don't know what's going on, but, and I know you have a lot going on. I've spent a couple of days with you recently and just kind of seen your day-to-day ongoings. But as far as just running a tournament trail, a good tournament trail, where your reputation and how you run it and the things that you do for the tournament is what has built the trail to be the premier trail of the U.S. And it's not easy. It's, you know, last 3 tournaments combined, I don't have 5 pounds of fish, and I'm not complaining. You know, I mean, that's part of it. And I talked to you about it a little while ago. I think that, you know, where I'm coming from, a lot of the tournaments aren't near me. So I'm traveling 9 hours, you know, 7 hours away, fishing bodies of water that I normally don't fish, and I'm not doing good, but I'm not giving up. You know, it's, to me, it's, when it's that far away, it's just, I have to fish it that many more times to get that experience under my belt and learn. And like I said, those logs are key to that.
Yeah. But my goal is that we give you a great event and not just a tournament. So I even sometimes hate the word tournament. I want the word event, and I'll show you this picture what I mean by that. And if you didn't see it, you know, a lot of these tournaments have anglers in the crowd. But if you fish this tournament and you truly seen, this was not anglers in the crowd here. I mean, this tournament was wild. It's the second, I would say, it's hard to compare it to Vicksburg. You know, Vicksburg's in a building, and I emceed Vicksburg the last 2 years, and Vicksburg is awesome. But this was awesome too. I would say, in my opinion, there's probably 3 tournaments that I've been to or been a part of. It's Monsters on the Ohio had a really good crowd, the Lton Catfish Classic, and Vicksburg. Not saying that there's not others out there, but these people were there at noon on Saturday, and I was stressed because I'm setting up until 2 o'clock to moving things around. We got vendors, and people are sitting there like patiently waiting. Like, I had a guy call me at 9 o'clock in the morning asking where everybody was at. I said, well, I'll be right back down to, you know, I'll be finishing setting up. But like, that is cool when you get the spectators to like this. I mean, that's also tough. You know, I remember the first time we had nobody, and now we're drawing a crowd. Some people drive 3 hours to watch the weigh-in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You didn't get to go through the weigh-in, and I told Doug Rice they threw a fish back, and I said, dude, I don't care if you don't have a fish. Drive through the weigh-in line and wave or whatever, and I'll call you out. Like, I don't. You spent all that money. Like, I want you to get a part of that. We'll take a picture of you, because this right here is some of the most important parts of the event. These pictures last a lifetime, and that's why we take a little bit of extra time and get good pictures. Whether it's a setup like this, these guys got 4th place, or you have 2 pounds. You know what I mean? So,
I should have done that. I should have went through the weigh-in. I had my boat there and everything, and I didn't have a fish, but I got that new wrap and I got that QR code on there. Just sort of get your name out there.
I do like that. I gotta change your QR code up though.
No, you're not. No, sir. Thank you, Liz, by the way. If you guys didn't notice, I finally got my new jerseys and hoodies and stuff in. I posted some pictures of them on my Facebook today. I think they came out really good. Honestly, as oddly enough, I wanted my boat wrap to have a darker gray color, and it ended up being like a real light gray color. And then my hoodies come in, and these were supposed to have a darker gray color, and it's a very white. So it really does actually match a lot better than I expected.
So Tyson said we went to breakfast Friday morning, and the owner of the restaurant came up to us and wished us good luck and said he couldn't wait to come to the weigh-in. That was cool. And like I said, that's our goal. Is if you're kind of seeing from where we're growing all this is, Twisted. Our goal is it's a trail. It's a 100% tournament series, tournament trail, but it's growing to where the Alton Catfish Classic is an umbrella. The Bama Blues, and those are starting to grow those niche areas. And I don't know, this is such an awesome event, and the trophy thing is so awesome. Like that trophy moves around Alton. To get a name like that is something, in my opinion. Number one, to be in the top 50 and get humbled, because there's a lot of people that don't make the points race. We talked about that, which the points are done. We'll bring that up in just a second. But to get your name on the Alton Catfish Classic traveling trophy, is a huge deal. One team's done it twice, and now one team's done it 3 times. I mean, you can't take that away from them. That's saying something. We
were talking about this earlier again. Myself and I know of multiple anglers, and those of you that don't do this probably should try to, just striking up random conversations with your bartender, with your hotel front desk clerk, with a guy at the gas station, just saying, hey, we're having this big tournament down at the Alton Amphitheater on Saturday at 3:00. Come check it out if you ain't doing nothing. And I probably told 5 or 6 people, just in random conversation. And a number of them said, you know what, I'm going to try to do that. And so, that was a pretty good crowd. You were talking about it, like the Monsters on the Ohio and Rising Sun and the way catfishing has grown, and how they're starting to actually be some really good crowds watching what's going on. And, that's one way that it happens is the anglers also promoting and giving the information and putting it out there.
Yeah, no, we need anglers to promote big time. We need, like the live stuff that we're doing, the 1v1, which we'll get to in a second. But, I think, we did a lot of things. I've always thought it was cool. I've seen Bassmasters. Actually, I was with my boss, Steve Henderson, at the Bassmaster Classic in Knoxville a few years ago. And that was where I got the idea of let's give some cash giveaways to the crowd, because they were dropping, Academy Sports were dropping small umbrellas from the arena down, and they were gift cards and cash value stuff. So then we started doing that. And then, that just grows, and then giving rod and reels away and merch and stuff for, the kids. And John and Cody Williams did a rod and reel combo giveaway. Some of the anglers are throwing stuff out. Each angler, like the tournament guys are starting to become like kind of grow their brand. And that's my whole goal is I want to help grow Craig Norris's brand, Chris Wallace's brand. You know what I mean? So the more you can talk to me on a mic, the more you can have a conversation, like that's just, it's going to help build your brand. Like we've got a few people that's growing it, but I mean, there's it's wide open. I mean, it's in 2 years. I can't wait to see like who's going to step up to the stage and take it, because I mean, not a lot of people have. So there's a lot of opportunity.
You have the drones. You got to figure out a way to drop some little prizes with the drones on some people out in the crowd.
Gosh, listen, I flew my drone last night at my house, and if you watch my personal video, I flew it right through the walkway, and I was sweating to do that. But I did it. But my goal is I want to get an FPV drone, and then I'll probably. But everything I want to do is on the water, so when you crash it, I mean, there's no getting it back.
Oh, Bull Phillips, man. I started reading that and I was like, oh man, what happened? And then I finished it and it made more sense there. I watched last year's weigh-in online. This year I drove 2 hours to watch it live. That's the last time I'll be a spectator. That's where I was like, whoa, man, what happened, you know? And then he says, I'll be fishing that event from here on out. You put on too good of a show.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, if you're on here and you really did enjoy the Alton Catfish Classic, you enjoy Twisted Cat Outdoors, definitely leave a Facebook review. You know what I mean? Just like a review like this. I mean, don't just give it a 5-star. I mean, please don't give it a 1-star. But you tell me why. Like, I want that information so we can show people, and it really helps, kind of help show people in the city and in the area and the sponsors like what our goals are, and as we grow, and but yeah, no, it was super awesome. Like I said, the fish tank, I will be the first to admit I did a terrible job on last year's tank. Not that I did a terrible job. I learned. I made a mistake. I think we waited too long for the fire department to fill the tank up. It was like 9:30 the morning of the event. Obviously, there's a lot of chlorine, so the stuff that I put in just didn't have time to get through the tank. So this year we filled it up Friday morning. So it had, 2 full days to get out. I put 14 pounds of salt in it. We put bluegill in it. We had the oxygen. We had pumps circulating the water. And then obviously we put the treatment in it on Friday too. And then we were testing the water. So that water that you've seen in Alton this weekend, are you throwing up there, dog? Was absolutely just perfect. I mean, it was perfect for. Do you hear her?
I thought it was something.
You good?
Mine is just unconscious over
here. So that was, like I said, it was really dialed in, and that helps. And obviously having Miller Fisheries. So, and people are definitely taking much better care.
Yeah, I told you I'd like to see using that fountain right behind you. I want to see that thing loaded in with some fish, and then you got to pull them out and put them in that tank and take them out.
The dog, Liz, is gone right now. Roxy, nobody can see you.
Oh yeah, and I put that. If you've seen, I posted my my morning routine with Lucy this morning too. That's a everyday thing that I'm home. And when I'm not, I get absolutely molested by her when I walk in the door.
Yeah, since Liz is here, she sits at my office door just looking outside, waiting for her.
Waiting for
the garage door to open or something.
How does she do when you're gone for 4 days? Is she like super?
She freaks out when we get back, yeah. So we took her to like a doggy daycare, and Liz got her like a suite, which I didn't know that was a thing. So I don't even know what that means, but probably wasn't cheap.
She got a hot tub and.
Yeah, so we'll figure out the date, and we're gonna get things going. Obviously, June 1st, Bama Blues is gonna open back up, which is gonna be pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, it's all coming so quick, man. Everything's happening so quick.
Yeah. So our next big event is in a couple weeks. The Sea Art Catfish Owners Invitational in Decatur, Alabama, and let's go over the points because I've had some people asking about the points. Some people stressing out. I know you were stressing out. You were in 9th place, literally until this weekend. So let's see how Fudd did. Let's show you. Obviously, let's show everybody how to find points again. Just if they, for some reason, forgot. On your cell phone or.
And you say, "Hey, Alex, what's my points now?"
What's my points? What's my points right now?
My points, Alex.
Okay, so here we are. TwistedCatOutdoors.com. 2026 points race calculations. To qualify for the championship, we will take anglers' best 4 finishes. Each angler, not team, each angler. Each descending placement drops 1 point. 2026 winners, which the winner this year, the angler of the year is $10,000 and $2,500 for second place. The 2026 angler of the year based on top 4 finishes plus the championship. In case of a tie at championship, that means that you're going to be a teammate. It's Big Fish'em championship, or you'll split it if it's a tie, which has been 3 years since I've done.
Before you move on, yeah, look over there to the left because this is something not everybody understands. You see how the
first place?
Yep, you see how those points drop. Look down there at no weight. No weight means 0 points. So
because no weight will not help you. I mean, no weight, unfortunately, will not help.
It is rough to go and not weigh in 1 fish. Because just doing that, you would have got, 167 points if you weighed in the last place. So
hold on. So when you're ready, you come to twistedcatoutdoors.com, and this is a hyperlink. So you just click that picture. Boom. Here comes your point standings. We're going to go ahead and make it all big just so Bennett can see it. He's got 529. So he had 164 in Bama, 179 in Garland, 186 in Alton. So as you can see, Fudd was in 9th place and has dropped down to 27th place. So right now it takes 197 to be in the top 50, and this is going to change drastically after Fort Madison. Again, some people don't even have 3 tournaments. And once we get to Burlington, obviously after Savannah, we're looking at putting Texoma. We've just got to finish that up. But points are going to be wild this year because just like you were in 9th. Now you're in 27th. What happens after Fort Madison?
I'll be back up in 5th.
I hope, dude. But that's what, like, I always talk about, like, building this trail as in I want to be a competitor and fish and see where I would fit in. You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy, and people get humbled. Nate Moore, I love him to death, and he got humbled last year. You know, he fished almost every tournament. I think 13 out of 14 tournaments and did not make the top 50. I mean, that's how tough it is. This trail, like I said, obviously we want it to be for everyone. We have a grassroots series, but it is to make the top 50. I think that right now, we talked about this earlier, if you want to truly see where you fit in catfishing in this sport, I think this is the place to do it. If you want to say, hey, I made the top 50, you know what I mean? Because it's not tough.
You have to have a strong, strong desire to be able to endure because, especially the first few years, you're not going to go out here and dominate on all these waters that you're just not used to fishing. So if you can't take losing or not doing well, then Twisted Cat's going to be rough. because it's very,
But
very good.
you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn from it.
You definitely learn, and that's why I say, like, you know, I still have fun. And you said it's a good description when you say you put on an event, not a tournament, because every single time I still have fun. Of course, I get frustrated if I'm fishing and, like I said earlier, I don't feel like I learn anything there, because it's not often that happens. Honestly, any tournament that I fish, I always feel like I learned something. And so it was just at the end of that when, at that point, I was like, I just haven't, I don't feel like I've learned what I did wrong. And, you know, I generally always talk to some guys and hope that I can, you know, pinpoint something, you know, some guys that caught fish and stuff, just to sort of help myself have an idea of what to try differently. So yeah, definitely, just keep going with it and try to learn and have fun, enjoy all the stuff, like the food and the captain's dinner, and just going and talking with the anglers, and even, like I said before, the community, letting the community know about the weigh-in and getting them to come and support it.
So the grassroots is, we just always have offered a grassroots. It's not, I mean, it's a series, but it's just $100 entry, and it's its own tournament throughout. So, you know, in Fort Madison is going to be a 5-fish limit. It would be grassroots. We do a 3-fish limit, $100, 100% payback. You know what I mean? We just don't get a lot of people. The problem is a lot of people come and just pay the full and want to be a part of the whole deal. Brad Holt said he sucks at fishing, and I fished your tournament for 2 years and made it to the top. So again, this kind of shows the growth is, you know, Brad, it's probably been 3 years since Brad's fished the trail, and it was easier for sure, 100%. I think if Brad fished it now, he'd be humbled. It is tough. The last 2 years, I would say, is, and probably some of the people that have fished it, it's a different animal. It kind of got, you know, there for 3, 4, 5 years ago, where as long as you showed up, you could make it, and that's done with.
I made it last year fishing 5 tournaments, and I think that was like just a lottery ticket. I mean, I think I got very lucky. You know, I talked to you. I made it at spot 50, tied.
I don't know how you did barely. I mean, there were some anglers that got in at the I mean, it was tight, but there was a lot of anglers that fished 9, 10, 11 tournaments and didn't get in. I mean, a lot of anglers.
I was throwing up that night.
Were you really?
Oh yeah, I was tore up, man. I was texting you. I was like, oh man, I don't think I made it. Oh man, you know, it's
well, and you take even the last couple of years. This year's is different because, you know, we had some 30 boat tournaments. That's easy. You know what I mean? Now, you know, we start off the bat 100 boats, 60 boats, 100 boats. And I'm going to say 70 boats at the next tournament. I mean, these are some big numbers.
And you're only going to have 9 or maybe 10 or whatever this year. So that's just making everything harder. So you got more anglers, less tournaments. This is, anybody who makes it this year should especially be proud. Very well earned. But yeah, they were talking about the nets. They don't know that Rippin' Lips has nets. There's some people talking about those. Yeah, the Rippin' Lips nets are out.
Yeah.
They're in the Michigan colors, the blue and yellow.
Well, I gotta get them out, or, you know, we're still got to find some shipping boxes and all that. But so make sure you check out the points. Now let's bring up what we've been working on. Let me go ahead and save it. We finally, I would say, the graph is done, or the bracket is done. And we wanted to really get into, Josh, we'd love to see if you get humbled too. Okay. The weather does, not that we're trying to like postpone it, the weather does not look good for this weekend either. For Liz and I.
Liz texted me. She said she thinks he's scared.
Yeah. Okay. I'll fish in the rain. All right. Share. Ah, crap. Image. All right, here it is.
Well, your bottom. I was gonna say your bottom.
All right, hold on. I'm taking it off. So this will be the first Twisted Cat Outdoors 1v1 bracket challenge. We're gonna do probably a big belt that I'm getting made for this. You know, these again, when you look at this, this is us putting this together with people that can make it work as we get this kind of ball rolling. There's going to be a lot of, what is Liz saying? She's, I don't know what that means right there. Okay. Whatever. So the plan is Liz and I will go this Saturday and kind of dial some things in. I'm still waiting on some final stuff for the Starlinks, but we did do Monty Bond and Brian. Obviously, you can see that pretty cool. Monty Bond, he 148 to 90, but we thought Brian was coming back, didn't we? I mean, it was kind of like he was on a roll, but just didn't finish it up.
Well, early on, man, I even said something about like that they might have to make a bet on if Monty beats him by 100 pounds plus, because it was looking pretty dire for Brian for a while, and then he came back and just kept catching them, and so yeah, it was fun. It was a good first one.
Yeah, and like I said, if you didn't watch it, you can go back, especially on YouTube, and find it and watch it. But there's a couple things that we did that, you know, I don't think we're going to do it for the channel cat fishery. Every place that we fish is a little bit different. But with Brian and Monty, we talked about 5 pounds, as it had to be bigger than 5 pounds. So, she's going to get smoked and she didn't even know it. Monty weighed maybe 2 fish. One of them was 499, which is pretty cool. But no, so that was super awesome. We did that driving down the road. Liz was driving. I was on the computer. We had Starlink on the dash. I think for the most part, everything went pretty good. And I think we'll get it slowly dialed in. So this is the first bracket of many. And I'm pretty excited about it. What's your thoughts? What do you think if you're watching this? Your thoughts of this bracket? You know, we've got some really unique head-to-heads. Obviously, Liz and I, Joe Crawford, Joe Ludke, Donald Moore, Eddie Henney, Kirk Lucky, Joe Lunsford, Parks and Norris, Devin and JT, Jason and Fudd. So hopefully we get this. You know, we're going to have hopefully 4 or 5 done in the next couple weeks.
Did you just say Jason and Fudd, or did you say Jackson?
Jackson and Fudd is what I meant.
I just sent you that picture. You post like that was an experiment that I did, and I sent you. If it's still in, let me see if it's.
You sent me a picture. Cool. We're live on YouTube right now.
Did I texted it to you before? Is that what I did? I texted you the picture of my Starlink Mini in my case and my speeds that I was getting with it closed in my case, and one of my batteries ran it all day long. But I know that you're talking with the company that has the Starlink battery thing and all the kit and all, you know, the case and all together. But yeah, I was pulling 186 megabytes down, 29 up with a 33, basically like a ping or whatever. And that was with my case closed on the front of my boat, just sitting up there. So I think that's pretty good, you know, and I just tossed it up there, turned it on, you know. Starlink Mini. Yeah. I liked I liked Brian's camera that followed him, the attachment, I think, that followed him on the boat. That was, I think I'm going to get one of those.
Well, that's another thing too, is obviously we're like in the beta testing. This is very new, but we have to have anglers that are willing to also think outside of the box and help. Like Brian did an amazing job with what he built for his Dynasty, where it goes up. Like he built like a deal for his motorized deal, and I think that was awesome. I think it looked really good.
Hey, just so you know, guys that are in, I got my money on Jackson. We're going somewhere he don't guide on. That's that's part of that. So I'll at least have a chance, you know. But old Jackson, I ain't gonna make it easy. You're gonna find out Bud can fish.
Yeah, I mean, you've weighed a total of 5 pounds this year in 3 tournaments, but you can fish.
I can fish. I promise you, I can.
So if it's not been on YouTube, that just must be an accident of me not clicking it. But I mean, everything we do, usually when we go live, it's YouTube and Facebook. So I don't know what happened there.
Yes, sir.
Also want to give a huge shout out to oh my, I like that. You got to get that. That's what needs to be on your boat. I want to get I lost my train of thought. Gosh dang it.
You got this.
Oh gosh. I completely forgot after Mosley. Oh, okay. So we had a 50-50 drawing for Justin Cox Memorial to go to Sarah and the family, and we raised $179,179, and Marcus Farrell won and donated his half back. So all that money is getting sent to Sarah. So I want to thank everybody that was a part of that this weekend. That's awesome. You know, raising over $1,000 for her. So really, really proud of that. Pretty cool. And thank you, Marcus Farrell, for donating that half back.
I know it's easy to say when you didn't win, but had I won, that's what I would have done as well.
Yeah. So that was awesome. What else? So we talked about the 1v1. We talked about the points. What's your thoughts? So we've got people traveling. You know, we talked about Bill and Cindy White. We talked about some different anglers that travel yourself. You know, now 3 tournaments in, your points are you're not collecting points. You've got 6, 7, 8 tournaments left. What do you do? Are you like, do you throw in the towel? Do you give up? Do you see what's your plans?
There's a lot of people that are that if they don't do good by so and so, they might stop for this season or whatever. I don't plan on that. That's just me personally. A lot of the tournaments, places that you're going to are places that I'm not super familiar with, and I don't have a ton of time on the water. But if at some point down the road I want to be competitive in your trail, I have to fish those, and I really need to fish them as much as possible. So missing those events is not an option. I'm very competitive, but I'm not to the point where it ruins the fun of the tournament and fishing for me. So I'm going to just go and enjoy myself and just try to gain the knowledge, as everyone says, put the time on the water. And I have a ton of trophies. I have a ton of trophies and plaques. None of them are back here yet.
Hold on. Your trophies from elementary and high school don't count. I'm talking about fishing trophies, fishing trophies.
I got a whole bunch of trophies.
How many Twisted Cat do you have?
I don't think I have one Twisted Cat trophy.
Dude, really? Come on.
No, I don't even want to talk about it. It's embarrassing. I do have one. I paid for it though.
Oh.
You see, it was the Bama Blues. We got 7th place in, and you only gave out trophies for like 6 places or something. So I said, I want a trophy. There's over 100 boats in that tournament, and I paid for a trophy. So I do have one.
You're the kid that you got trophies like when there were 10 people in track and you got 10th place, you got a ribbon.
No.
I'm gonna start calling you little Chris Ribbon Fred Wallace.
I got a ton of first place trophies. And in 20 boat tournaments, 25 boat tournaments, go to Indiana, that's where I fished a lot. I fished a lot of the lakes and stuff, rivers in Indiana. And, I put my time on the water in there and I was very competitive. So
Cole brings up, this is probably one of the coolest trophies that we give away, the Sportsman Award. For Dagan Sanders, and it is we'll give that away in Perryville. His family will be there, and that, like I said, that's probably one of the most unique trophies to win because it doesn't matter about how you are at fishing. I mean, we kind of have a committee that obviously a bunch of us that look at all the anglers fishing the trail and who we think does the best, and participation trophy don't count. Ouch.
Jeez.
Yeah, and this brings a good point. Mississippi River dominant events are tough for us. We fish King Cat realized we were not pre-fishing enough, which means more cost. So I think there's kind of a fine line on pre-fishing, spending too much time and not enough time, and honestly, the anglers that spend a lot of time pre-fishing, I feel, do worse. And, an event like we just had shows you, they were here the weekend before, they were on fish, they were here midweek. You got to really be able to break down that water the day of the tournament, that morning, and be able to, when things don't go, I get it on Thursday or Friday, to be able to adjust. Yeah, JT, it'd be August. That is a long time from now. A long time. Are you writing all down your elementary track awards? I bet you were fast on the track.
I actually was fast. I did used to be fast. Very, very fast, but not. I never stayed in a school for more than a year, so I had a lot of football coaches and track coaches that wanted me to play, and I moved around too much. I knew better than to even try. I was like, I'll be gone next year, so no need in doing it. But I used to, when I was young, I lived in Oklahoma, and I used to ride my bike a lot, like very far. And I just built up some pretty strong legs, and then found out that I used to be very, very skinny too. So sucks getting older.
Yeah, we'll do that anytime, Cole. Let me mop up this bracket real quick, and then we'll talk. And what do you? So looking at this, Fudd, what's your thoughts? I mean, let's talk about this. Do you think you'll even get past round 1, let alone round 2?
I'll be honest with you. I am in a tough. That's a top of the line. I don't even deserve to be in there, but I am going to. I think I might shock some people. I might win against Jackson. I'm telling you, we go somewhere that he doesn't guide on, and I don't think it's going to be a blowout or anything. I definitely think that There's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle, and then as far as the rest of
no. I mean, the whole bracket's tough. I mean, there's nothing.
If I win there, I think it'll be a great confidence booster. I think that, really, then you're looking at, let's just say I win, and then I have to go against JT Ray or Devin. I'm going to be going, we're going to be meeting somewhere again that, neither one of us have an advantage on. And it's just going to be about fishing. And, a lot of these matchups are going to be in places where both anglers agree that, they can meet at, and you might have some middle ground areas that don't get fished a whole lot. That's what I'm hoping and thinking, that, you might have some anglers that are great on the Mississippi River that have to go to some lake in Tennessee or Kentucky or
yeah. And I think this 1v1 also shows you that it's anybody's day. You know what I mean? And so many things can change. You got to be able to adapt quick, and think outside of the box. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Crawford makes it to the third round. I don't know about that. I plan on making it to the whole way. We're going to see, though, this weekend if I can advance. So this is the final. So we just switched some things up. Joe and Eddie we just kind of switched them up a little bit. And then Fudd is going to go against Jackson. And then, obviously, Fudd has Starlink. So some of these, obviously, Liz and I are going to probably be on every boat at some point. So, I guess let me show it up here. So, we're going to try to do Kevin and Craig, Devin and JT on the same weekend, probably on a Saturday, Sunday. And then hopefully Jackson and Fudd can do it in the next 2 weeks, possibly on a Sunday. And then I'm going to probably be there on Jackson's boat, and then Fudd will have Starlink. Liz and I'll have to be on Joe and Joe's boat. And then, really all of them until we can get things dialed in. Making it the whole way just to get knocked out of round one of the next one by a guy who has an average weigh in of 2.6. Yeah, there's some fire ones. Ooh. Joe, you got to get past the first round before you go against Liz or I. I just wondered, do I let up on Liz if I'm starting to put her down? If I'm up 100 pounds, do I slow down? What's your thoughts?
Absolutely
or if you
not.
Up 100 pounds on Jackson, do you slow down?
Heck no. Especially, in these places where there's 100-pound fish, things can change so fast. I
think that's what was so cool about, especially when you talk about blue cats, is look at Monty and Brian. Monty was up probably close to 100 pounds at one point, and Brian started coming back. He was weighing a 25 and then a 32, and just it kept. I thought he was going to roll in.
Imagine that, Bill was fishing against Brian St. Alma in that tournament, and Brian had the 90 pounds catching those fish and doing all that. And at the end of that day, Bill caught that 110. One fish. No mercy.
It can change. It's just fact.
I sent you a picture on Facebook.
You sent me a picture on Facebook.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Can I share it or no?
Yeah.
Oh, those are cute. Those are cute.
That's my little trophy wall. I have some trophies. I have some stuff. You look at the top, I got all the actual trophies, and then all the plaques are on the wall.
I'll have to get a picture of mine.
Runner up. Honorable mention.
So that is your Starlink case. So your dish is in there.
Yep. My Starlink
Yes,
Mini's
that's kind of like the one that I'll have, and I've got my plan is I'm going to mount it to this pedestal, so it'll be on the top of this, so I'll be able to put this pedestal mount. The Pelican case will mount to this, and all you'll have to do is you'll open it, hit a button, turns it on. You probably have to download a VPN app that we talked about, and that VPN app is going to help which you'll have to pay for the trial. That's the other thing, is anglers are going to have a little bit of cost here, unless Liz and I are on the boat where the VPN helps your cell phone data and your Starlink data work together, not against each other. So like if your Wi-Fi starts to drop out, your cell phone is helping pick it back up and work together good. Yeah, I don't know. That's true. Alex, it's your household and life. Your decision will affect you well after the 1v1s. That's true. I'll tell you this. I'm not going to go easy. Is that fair to say? I promise you that. Like,
I don't think that she wants you to. I think that
no, she don't.
He's going to give it her all, and she expects you to give it your all.
Yeah. What's up, Brandon?
That's what we think. Only time will tell if the scenario arises where you put a whooping on her, and then you call me and you're like, Fudd, I shouldn't have done it. Life is miserable at home. She's beating me every time I walk in the door. She won't make me any more sandwiches.
I wonder if she's watching
sandwiches.
I'm gonna call you in all day and make sure you don't win. Oh gosh. Yeah, so the plan is in the next couple of weeks we'll have a lot of these knocked out, but super excited about that. Hopefully everybody follows along and we grow this and help us grow this to something really, really big. It's a ton of work behind the scenes, but man, we love it.
And if you weren't,
I got one person that's got me on there. That's what I like to see right there.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you weren't selected in this, Fish Twisted Cat, join, support him, support the trail. And, that was the criteria for this one. I'm sure the next one is, probably the winner of this one probably automatically gets a seat in the next one. I don't know. What do you say? How's that going to work?
Obviously it's the people that support Twisted Cat, you know what I mean? Fishing, that support us.
Try to get different people.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some more people that want to be involved that we talked about. And it's, again, I look at this with my brain that doesn't stop moving. And there's the reasoning and the amount of time it took to put this bracket together is wild because, Joe and Joe, obviously awesome anglers. That's why I put them against the winner of Liz and I, because, we live close to each other. It would be crazy to put Devin and JT against the winner of Liz and Alex, because then we're already right off the bat, we're driving crazy amounts. I mean, you got anglers from Alabama, Texas, Missouri, everywhere, Kansas, Oklahoma, Illinois, so you got to really kind of think outside of the box. But, and the last two, it could be Liz against JT or, Liz against Craig Norris or whatever. I don't know why I keep saying Liz. And then Joe Stringer, he doesn't, I think, Joe doesn't look at this bracket and go, man, that's, why not make it 24 anglers? He doesn't see how big of a deal like this one is. You know what I mean? And then regions, yes. All these are huge and great ideas. We're just not there yet.
I was going to say the implementation.
You can't put something together so giant that you can't finish. Like we're going to get through this, have some mistakes, learn what worked and what didn't. Obviously anglers got to be, there might be some anglers that that like don't work for a 1v1. Like if you're getting beat by 100 pounds, you can't just say, screw this, throw in the towel. Everybody's talking crap about you because they will. I mean, I've done this. You're going to see people say, you just need to quit and throw your stuff. Like, how much is your boat? You know, can I buy your rods? You know, when are you going home? Like I promise you, when everybody's watching you, that's not easy. And you're getting smoked. Yeah, I mean, that's so, and just like Sean, like, you got to be able to manage what you plan. So some of these anglers might not be. Monty and Brian did an awesome job. You know, I think you take like Monty winning and stuff and how he did a great job talking to the camera. You know, you can't be on there and just be quiet. You got to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely nice to watch some of these happen before it gets to you doing it, so you can sort of
yeah, I mean, look at Mosley. He said, how's Brian? Ask him how it felt. I haven't heard from Brian since that day.
Oh man.
Has anybody else heard from Brian? I haven't. So one thing I promise you is only one person's coming out on top. Only one. See, Mosey said he think he sold his boat.
I wonder if what's that app where you can bet on anything? What's that called?
Oh gosh.
Somebody should put like $10 on FUD winning the whole thing. That would be some crazy odds right there. That would have to make some. That would have to really be a pretty.
Maybe we can get into that at some point after this grows. Like I said, if we get a ton of support, people watch it, and and it grows. I don't know the draft teams will pick it up right now, but I think it's got some legs.
You could do Calcuttas and then like donating, for different good causes and stuff.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you collect the money and all. I mean, that gets a little
hairy.
A little hairy, man.
Just friends and family, PayPal friends and family.
Yeah. I think we're going to get, I honestly think this will get to a point where you're going to see some boats start to come and like hang out and follow. And you know what I mean? I've actually had some people ask, can we follow you and watch? And I mean, yeah, they can, I guess. I mean,
my hope, and I don't know about you, my hope for the 1v1 thing is that Joe Smith in North Carolina says, man, I think this would be fun. I want to do this here, and I want to create a bracket and get these anglers and I want to do it, and just to see it take off. It isn't about being the owners of it or running it or anything like that. It's really just it's to bring new stuff to catfishing and get guys excited and people excited and enjoying it and just having fun. So I'd love to see some other people just pick it up and take off with it and start doing it. And heck, at some point, you could have the Twisted Cat versus the whoever, and it won a V1 challenge, the winners championship 1v1s.
Yeah. Well, I think technology, and once we get this stuff dialed in where we can maybe start shipping like the, a case and stuff like that, where I can pick two people in Florida or whatever and do some cool stuff. Speaking of Florida, some city reached out to me in Florida about a catfish tournament.
Really?
And after this weekend and some of these, like in Texas, I'm about ready to do some tournaments in Florida.
Interesting.
I'm ready for some warm weather.
Remember that time I caught our only fish in the cookie jar tournament, and then you were so embarrassed that you didn't have it the next year? Oh, man.
Yeah, I wish that was why I didn't have it. That's because we were just super busy, and he knows that. That's true. I'm gonna look into this Florida thing. Who thinks we should go to Florida in 27?
That's
And who
closer.
still wants to go to Tacoma in 26? We're trying. Like I said, I think people, as you know, I am already putting stuff together for 27 as we get through this year, so we kind of have a full schedule. It's just to do them and do them right has been tough. And going to some of these new areas.
I'm sure, you know, I know you get approached by a lot of towns and places that want you to come, and there's a lot of factors that go into whether you can go to them or not go to them. So, you know, I guess for me, anything coming east, it's still not going to be close to me. I think I'm at the very top of Alabama, so I think it's 6 hours for me to get to like Gulf Shores. So Florida is going to be another, you know, 8-hour drive probably. Just depends on where. I know that there's like there's old Glenn Flowers would take people on some catfish guide trips. I think it was Perdido River and Escambia River. There's good flatheads.
Let me ask you this, Bud. Could you catch them in Florida?
I never once went catfishing in Florida.
No. Could you catch them in Florida?
I can catch fish anywhere except for a twisted cat tournament this year. You
Sean
never
said, "Where are you at, Chris Wallace?"
Where am I? I'm in Rogersville, Alabama. I am right. I'm like I can be on Wheeler Lake in 2 minutes, and I can be on Wilston in 5. Pickwick in 15. I am right up the road there. If you're familiar with Rogersville and the Elgin area and the 101 Pizza, I am right up by 101 Pizza.
I'm not familiar with the 101 Pizza.
Oh, really? Dude, everybody. The guy that owns 101 Pizza here is from Italy. He's Italian. Very serious. I called him up maybe a month ago, and I said, I want my pizza well done. And you would think that I stabbed him in the face with a soldering iron because I said, no, I want it well done. He's like,
no, what do you mean by well done?
Oh, I like things. I'm odd. I like a lot of things cooked.
What about your ribeye?
I don't want a ribeye well done. I want a ribeye medium rare.
We almost weren't friends anymore. Medium rare on the ribeye. So here, when it comes to pizza, Tom, close your ears, because Tom and Liz, all people I hang around like a thin pizza, like Emos and whatever we had. We had some Alton pizza this weekend, where it's so thin, it's like I'm eating a sheet of paper. What is that a thing?
I don't like a thick, like a deep dish pizza, and I don't like a pizza that's too thin. I guess I like something on the thinner side, but not super thin. We have in Indiana a place called Pizza King, and it's my absolute favorite.
Greg is. What are all these people? Are they messing with me liking this thin? Like, I don't know. It's just terrible.
Thin is
Thin
good.
is in.
Thin is good. I'm not
I like that thick pizza.
What's that?
I like that thick pizza.
You like that deep dish, that Chicago style?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just has more taste.
I would, even if it was a deep dish, I would like it cooked well done.
What is the well done about? I don't get that. You want it where it's charred?
I don't want it. I want it to snap when I chew it. I want it to crunch.
Thin crust depends on pizza. I like them both. I'm not close to Chicago. Greg, you're closer to Chicago than I am.
Close enough. Yeah, I like it burnt. I like a lot of stuff burnt. I really do. Pizza King is like Hoosier Rattle. Pizza King is they don't, none of their ingredients are frozen. It's like their large pizza is a large ultimate feast is $28. It's about a $30 pizza.
Okay, and I agree. I agree now. I don't want a doughy crust either. I agree. So yeah.
I don't want
Tom
to
eats all types of crust, not an email. I don't know. So JT said, hey, he'll meet you in Louisiana somewhere for round 2 unless you want him to come to your home lake. Ouch, dude. Ouch.
Where's he at? Louisiana close to him? Is that why he's saying that?
He's in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. So that's close enough. He goes down there. I don't care. I'll beat you in Louisiana, Oklahoma.
What's funny? Here's what's fun.
Oh crap! We just see you guys done booted Alex off his own show. Hopefully, you get back in here.
There, what happened there?
I don't know.
Well, did you stay on?
Yeah, I stayed on.
I think my screen just went blank. The fact that you two are already talking like you're going to the next bracket, like I don't even get it. Like JT, you're really gonna talk about that?
This is what happens when you FUD around and find out, Alex. You FUD around and find out, and we'll just take you off your own show. That's what I'll do. So now what? But yeah, JT knows what's up. He says, yeah, FUD's got Jackson. I don't see no issue there.
I don't know what is going on.
FUD around and find out. Every time you question FUD.
Hey, Jeff, did Kevin have his shirt on backwards at the Classic during the weigh-in? Liz and I were looking at pictures. It looked like he had a shirt on backwards like Nate Moore.
Here, what do y'all think if you didn't see my post? This is my new jersey. What do you think? Big old ripping lips on there, the Dragon Master down the arms. Custom designed. Looking good. Looking good.
Yeah, looks good. You look good weighing in at 5 pounds.
I might not weigh in fish, but I'll look good not weighing in fish.
Uh-oh, Nathan is watching.
TFR. Boy, Cole. No, I like my ripping lips rods. I do. Everybody went for the new colors, it's kind of like a fad and stuff, but I genuinely, I see them better. I don't do a ton of night fishing, but when I do, I couldn't see my black ripping lips rods, and these brighter colors make it a lot easier for me to see. I still have to get all my lights up on my boat, but
is that your excuse? You're missing a bunch of bites at these tournaments?
No. But I will say this too. When I fished my channel, I sent you the picture that you're not sharing with all the trophies and stuff. And
those impressive trophies. Those are all. How many of those did you buy?
I didn't buy none of those except for yours. Yours is the only trophy.
Oh my gosh. Hey Nate, can I use your boat this Saturday? Actually, for this weekend, I need it. Gosh, I probably need it Thursday, to be honest. Maybe I can get your boat Thursday. I don't know. I need to get your boat pretty quick. so I know what I'm dealing with, because Liz is going to use Project X. I guess we can't do a 1v1 unless I have a boat to do it out of. So it's all up to Nate Moore.
Oh. But what I was going to say was my Channel Cat tournaments in Indiana, I used the Rip and Lips medium fast. It is Super Cat HD medium fast for my Channel Cats. And man, great. That's just, honestly, it was awesome. Awesome rod for that.
No, I don't need that much. She must be home, because there goes Rockney. You need that much of a head start. No, I need the boat just to make sure I can get all the camera and stuff and everything dialed in on his boat, because I love when people talk crap and they can't back it up, like Marcus. My boat's available to brand.
The dirty drinks. That seems to be the new thing. What are you thinking about that?
Well, is TFR giving you 5 rods for every tournament you don't catch fish?
No.
No. The dirty drinks? What dirty drinks?
All the, like the dirty Baja Blast and the dirty,
Where is this from? I think loaded tea.
Well, the loaded teas, it's the loaded teas and the dirty drinks. So at the Lake d'Arbonne in Louisiana, Farmerville, one of the booths set up there was selling loaded teas and dirty fountain drinks. And then you have your dirty, like I've got a dirty Mountain Dew Baja Blast. It seems to be the new thing. Bud, you want to do a one-on-one in 2 weeks on your waters? If not, you can fish with me and my daughter.
What's in 2 weeks? That's probably when you're going to be doing the 1v1. You're going to probably do it April 19th.
Let me look at my calendar.
You got to get up and look close to it?
Yeah, I can't see. What's right now is...
We're in March still.
Yeah, in 2 weeks, if that's the 9th.
No, I mean the 19th is when you and Jackson are going to do it, I think. I'll have to drive down there.
Yeah, 10th and the 11th. I don't know if that's when he's talking. 10th and the 11th, I'm doing the Patriot event.
Yeah, thank you, Mosley. How many grams of sugar is a Mountain Dew Baja Blast? 6 million grams?
Probably.
And how many is in a dirty Baja Blast?
I was going to say, does he know that I'm diabetic or something?
Yeah, you're diabetic and you're drinking dirty Baja Blast from Taco Bell.
Brandy buys me like giant packages of Reese cups, and I think she's got good insurance policy on me or something, because she's like, here's all these candies, and here, I bought you a dirty Baja Blast, and
she's trying to put you down.
Yep, she's ready.
All right, well, I am I gotta go eat. It's almost 9 o'clock. Is that right?
2 hours, and you always tell me, Bud, just don't say anything. You talk too much, and
I just wanted it to last like 30 minutes, and it's 2 hours. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for jumping on tonight. We talked about the 1v1 bracket. We talked about the Alton Catfish Classic, and we talked about the points. Some of y'all have gotten a little humbled on the points race so far, so I will see you in Vicksburg too, Mosley. But the next couple events we've got coming up, obviously this weekend, Liz and I are planning on going Saturday 1v1. This will be Easter weekend. We might try to see if anybody else wants to do something this weekend. And then I'll be going to Cornfield Fishing Demo Days, April 17th and 18th. And the Sea Arc Owners Catfish Tournament will be April 25th. And then May 2nd or May 3rd, Sunday, May 3rd is Fort Madison, Iowa. So
busy.
Busy. Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you this weekend. 1v1. All right, we're out.